Good morning, everyone. At the runoff fairly early this morning. It's just after 8. So the topic of this video is slow growing. It's not slow growing stock, it's slow growing grass. So you would have heard me comment about the amount of rain that we've had over the past little while. We haven't had a lot. January, February, March was what we would call a drought, and that's very unusual for us to have a drought that long. We had a few bits of rain which kept us green, but the grass was only long. It was just new shoots coming through which kept it looking green, but there wasn't a lot of grass there. And now we're in April. We still haven't had a lot of rain. We had a bit of rain yesterday and yesterday morning, which would have been Monday. So yeah, we had a bit of rain then. On Sunday afternoon, I went for a ride up in the bush around some of our tracks, and bog holes, which are normally full of water, were dry. So that sort of shows how dry it still is. Normally in March we would get what we call summer rain, so you're guaranteed to get some warm rain during that time and a little bit into April, but it's actually cooled down considerably and we didn't get that rain in March. So we're now into, like I said, we're into April when it's cold in the mornings, which is dropping the ground temperature, which means the grass isn't growing as well. So I'm feeding out silage to the calves, which are here, and the heifers, which you can see them on the side of the hill there. Feeding out silage to them, which we would normally be feeding in winter. So it's a bit of a concern. The grass is slowly building up at home. We're getting a bit longer grass in front. As you can see here, the calves haven't decked it down too hard, but I'm trying not to push the calves too much at the moment because they need as much grass as they can to grow. The heifers, they're getting pushed a bit harder just to try and tighten it up a bit. But yeah, just from here I'm looking, I can see there's grass for the calves. They've got this area all the way down. Oh, that's the neighbours, but there's a little piece down there. So I can see grass ahead for the calves. It's starting to get longer, but it's not as long as I would like. I would like to stop feeding out silage so I can save it for the winter. The heifers, I'm not sure, well, I sort of know where I'm going to put them, and they're probably going to be in that paddock just there. But the calves have definitely got the longer ones, so the heifers are going to be going into much shorter grass. So yeah, it would definitely be cheaper to be feeding palm kernel right now than silage bales, but we sort of don't have the facilities for feeding it out here. We could do it if we had to. The other option would be getting a bit of nitrogen on. We don't use a lot of nitrogen, so it's not normal for us to put it on now. I could spray on some gibberellic acid and nitrogen. I was actually going to ring my old boss and see if we'd get a result now, and I think we would because it's cooled down enough for the gibberellic acid to work. So yeah, if I was going to put on some nitrogen right now, I'll probably spread some urea onto the new grass, but I'd actually probably start spraying on some if I was allowed. So I'm going to have a talk to my boss at some point, but I won't rush that because his dad's not too well. So besides the slow growing, it's a pretty awesome view from just here. Yeah, so be interesting to see what other farmers are like in New Zealand. I know it's different around the world, but yeah, for Waihi, this is very dry. realistically we need a week of rain right now to get the moisture in the ground. Don't get me wrong, it is growing, but very slowly. Like, we're having to slow the cows, heifers and calves down a lot to get the grass to grow in front, whereas normally we'd have, normally we'd still be milking cows and we would just be letting the heifers and calves have a paddock, for 2 or 3 days and then move them on, but we're having to try and stretch it out a bit to build up the grass. So yeah, put a bit of your feedback in the comments and let me know what you think. I'm not stressed out. It's part of farming. The weather is always changing, so I'm not stressed out. It just means we've got to feed up more silage and potentially buy some in, or buy some palm kernel, or put on some urea, or spray some dissolved urea on with a bit of jib start. So yeah, let me know what you think. Alright, so here we are at the in-calf heifers. Prior to this break, they've had 3 breaks out of this paddock. Just looking at what they left 2 days ago, it's actually pretty good. So the grass is growing. It is growing. It's just a little bit slow to get going. I'm happy with how the heifers look and the calves. The cows are putting on good weight. They're going to look good when we get to calving. Bit of a different outlook here. So you got Mount Karangi right there, Mount Te Arawa up there. We were just standing up at the calves, so the calves are just there. I've just fed out for 5 days up there, and I'm about to feed out for 3 days for the heifers, which is going to be up there. So yeah, I'd like to know what other farmers think, and put in the comments below, and yeah, be interesting to see what you think. Thanks for watching. See ya.